Hi, I'm Rita, and this is an episode of Media Unshackled, and we're here at MJ BizCon with some of industry's pioneers, people with all walks and parts of the world here, and we're here with Cameron from Kanha. We're here with Chef Payton.
Hello.
And we're also here with Eric Block from Wana Brands, and they're going to tell, before we get started on how, why are you here? Why are you in this industry?
Oh, it's me. I get to go first. I need one more microphone before I can tell the story. That's definitely what I need.
You got an
here.
open hand, so
I need something, in this hand. I'm a little socially awkward. I'm in the industry because I'm a cook by trade. I've been standing behind the keys of a stove for about 35 years of my life. And for me, coming from the culinary world, I'm stubbornly ignorant, and I desire to craft and create things that aren't on the markets yet in the ways that I see them. And a whole fruit-based platform was something that caught my attention. So that's why I'm here, for the fruit.
So my interest in cannabis started about, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, something like that, with an interest in nutrition. And when I was studying nutrition, I learned about plant medicines, and then I started doing psychedelics.
Yes.
And my life completely changed. So I was doing some other businesses. I was doing software and some other interesting things. Had a small CPG company, got products onto the shelves of Whole Foods. And then a bunch of interesting things happened in my life, and it all coalesced together. And one day, I looked at a friend of mine who was getting in the industry, and I'm like, why the hell am I not in the cannabis industry? I'm a huge plant medicine fiend. Colorado had already gone legal, and we knew that California was going to go, so it was an obvious choice to get started. And actually, I really believe that the work that we're doing today is really the culmination of all of my life's work and all of my life's learning. So super excited about that.
well, it's pretty hard to top that and to follow that. But I'll just say I've been in the space now 7 years, and it's really the plant that brought me into the space, and the beauty of the plant, the power of the plant, what it can do. And then for me personally, being able to work with a company that's actually trying to harness the power of the plant to create products that really impact people's lives and make people's lives better, and constantly be on that cutting edge of what this plant can do and the power that it can do, that she can do. So that's what keeps me in it. It's a glutton for punishment for those of us that are in it. Every week is a roller coaster ride. It goes up and down all the time. But there's something magical there that keeps us all in it. So that's why we're here.
That's great.
It's awesome. So, Chef Payton, can you tell me what it was like living in a... So, for those of you who don't know, he was actually living in a school bus with his family, and how did you get so good at the craft while you were doing that, in terms of like manufacturing the gummies and edibles?
That's a good question. It was all my wife's idea to get on the converted school bus. We had a cannabis brand that some things happened inside of it that I wasn't paying attention to, and one of the partnerships failed, and my wife saw it coming a mile down the road, and she said, we're going to sell everything. We're going to buy a bus. And I started to accumulate as many bags of psychedelics as I could get, because I knew it was going to be a nice, long, strange trip. And I was able to craft and manufacture over 300 SKUs and SOPs in the culinary world by being in the hills of Tahoe, or being up in the mountains on the East Coast, and just being out in nature and barefoot. And we stayed in a 600-acre biodynamic winery in California in Healdsburg, and we were picking stone fruit that was a couple hundred years old. And I'm out there with my kids, and we're out there doing all this amazing stuff. And I do this dashboard test, it's this dashboard confessionals 2.0, where I make these fruit chews, and I set them in the direct sunlight with all these thermal probes and humidity, checking rates of everything. And my kids are like, Dad, why are you doing this? And I'm like, well, listen, we don't have a lot of disposable income. So if we're going to make something, I want to make sure it doesn't fail. I want to make sure it doesn't seep and weep. And I want to make sure it doesn't melt into a pile of goo, because I know my milligram dose threshold in every single drug that I take, even caffeine. I know where I'm at all the time. And the problem I was seeing in the marketplace is you spend all this money on a good, and then you put it in your pocket, and then 7 minutes later, it's all melted into a slab of, well, I hope it gets me high. And, I can't be on the floor all fucked up, pardon my language. My kids are going to be like, Dad, wake up. It's time for Scrabble, Mm-hmm. So for me, like being out on the bus in the middle of the wilderness, I was making stuff, literally by campfire. and then taking it and scaling it onto these fancy machines that you see out here is just a remarkable opportunity to scale stuff up. So being on the bus allowed for me to just focus on what I wanted to focus on instead of, did you get the email? Have you checked Slack? I didn't even know what Slack was until like 3 days ago. Someone's like, are you on Slack? I was like, no, I work my ass off. What do you mean am I on Slack?
So you're like living essentially in the state of nature. And Cameron and Eric, you guys both come from like both Ivy League men over here, Stanford and Brown University. So can you please tell me about like your experience, because I know you were in engineering before, and then you took the engineering into the play of like edibles and gummies. Like, tell me how that happened.
Yeah, it's a good story, and it's really, I got into plant medicines and cannabis because I really appreciate the plant medicines, of course, right? But I also noticed back in the day when I started looking at this 11, 12 years ago, that literally everything on the shelf was completely mislabeled, and it was also completely inconsistent. So you would take one edible and feel nothing. You'd take another edible, and we all know what that experience is like. Everybody's just telling us, right? You end up on the floor. And so I wanted to come in this industry and make completely consistent, reliable, safe products that were fully tested. And I'll tell you something. I almost got out of this industry early on because everybody kept telling me, "Oh, we've got, it's fully organic, the oil and the cannabis that we're selling to you." And then we couldn't test it. And after like 6 or 8 months, when I was finally able to test it and I found I was flooded with pesticides, I was so frustrated and so angry that I couldn't stand it. And it took me another 3 or 4 months before I could finally find truly organic, pesticide-free cannabis to extract into oil. So really for me, it was about creating safe, consistent, reliable products that I would be happy to put in my body and put in anybody else's body. And that's really what got me started.
That's awesome. And Eric, to add to his note, safe and compliant, how does Wana, being literally the #1 edible brand in the world, how do you guys maintain that as you guys are expanding and scaling?
So first of all, I don't know if we'd be number one. I mean, number one is just like a number, right? I think for us, our level of success isn't like a 1, 2, or 3. I think our North Star for success is the mission that we have, which is to serve. And that's what's kept us going from day one. It's what's connected me with our co-founder and prior CEO, Nancy Whiteman. If anyone has met her and knows her, she's amazing. She's a visionary and she has the biggest heart in the world. And I think for us from day one, when I first met her, it was, this is the mission, it's to serve. We see the gummy as a delivery system for plant-based medicine. We don't see it as a piece of candy that's infused with THC, which still can be that way. But our DNA and our North Star is this is a delivery platform for what we can do with this. We can unlock and unleash this magical plant. And not just THC. You've got 3 major chemical compounds in there. You've got cannabinoids, there's about 140 of those that have been identified. You've got terpenes, there's about 1,000 of those. And then you got flavonoids, there's about 10,000 of those. So every strain of cannabis is some sort of orchestra of those 3 mixes on different levels. And so it's like, how do we find the right combinations that we can put into this square or whatever shape that we have, triangle, to create these different effects, right? And then there's, within that, as Cameron knows too, you've got your normal when you ingest cannabis and the conversion, the first pass metabolism of the delta-9, which creates an 11-hydroxy body effect. But then when you decarboxylate, when you smoke, you get a delta-9 effect. So different effects, different drugs in your body. So, I resonate with Kanha a lot because I think we have similar approaches to the science and understanding and the brands, and not many brands do in that respect. So trying to create different experiences, right? Understanding there's different effects you can create with an edible and have them be consistent. And so it's really about understanding the quality, doing the research, understanding cannabinoids, which ones work with each other, then finding the right terpene profiles that we want to the right effect, and then reproducing those. And then with that too, then obviously good ingredients, right? Pectin, all natural ingredients, et cetera. So, but it all comes from that intention of really wanting to serve and creating these products it's plant-based medicine and it's a delivery system for the cannabis plant.
I love that you earlier feminized the plant. Would you guys say that the plant is like this, like essentially Mother Nature? And what does Mother Nature of the plant mean to you in terms of like edibles and providing this value to, a lot of the people out there that need it to sleep or they have anxiety? What does that mean to you?
You know, for me, that the whole Mother Nature thing is what brought me to a fruit-forward platform. The first ingredient on our list is raspberry if it's a raspberry fruit chew. If it's a strawberry, it's a strawberry. You see where I'm going with that. So for me, taking a minimalist approach to the ingredient list was simple because I took Mother Nature's advice and I used the nectar of the plant, whether it's cannabis or raspberries or blackberries or huckleberries, and crafted it based on that. You just make a slurry out of something that's incredible and you just let the fruit forward platform take over. And then the ingredient list is easy. People flip it over and what's your first ingredient? Fruit. And seeing the confusion on the marketplace is exactly what drives innovation. Because you know if they're looking at it all sideways that they're not used to seeing something like that. And when you take a Mother Nature plant, you know, that's made outside, and you can take that Mother Nature and put it in that bag right there, it's a win. You know, it's easy to like transfer that knowledge and information into the food. Just keep it basic. You know, you can mix it all up and put a bunch of stuff in there that sounds cool, or you can just let it be for what it is and let the fruit speak for the plant, you know?
Yeah. And Cameron, if you want to add to that, because I know you've had an interesting journey, very logical man, tapped into more of his emotions later on in life. And tell me about that journey and what it means to you in the plant.
So then I got to start with psychedelics.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Do
I
it.
mean, yeah, I was
That's
gonna
a big
say,
question.
So, oh boy. Well, this is more like a 2-hour conversation, but I'll summarize it quickly. You know, I had an interesting kind of meltdown in my life, you know, about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. And I was very, very logical, very business oriented, very driven. You know, the universe decided to teach me a lesson, right? And so, as it does a lot of us in our lives. And I think for me, that lesson was really to slow down, pay more attention to the world around me, learn from the women that were in my life, to be honest, right? And accept a lot of things that I was unwilling to accept. And lo and behold, I got stuck on a journey that ended me deep down in the Amazon jungle with a tribe that had only been discovered in the late 70s.
Wow.
Doing ayahuasca for the first time, connecting with Mother Ayahuasca, and spending the night with her, which was one of the most epic nights of my life, in a very non-sexual way, but very, very, very beautiful. And that really sent me on a completely different path. And it was really to kind of blend shamanism with plant medicine, with business, and that's why I'm saying like that's what ended me up here today, where we are today.
Was the plant?
Pardon me?
Was the plant herself?
Yeah, it was the plant herself. Yes, like she gave me the guidance, but it took me years to really understand what that guidance was. This is not so obvious, right? And so, like Payton was saying, for me, that also told me, hey, we got to do things in an all natural way. We need to incorporate the power of the plant and the beauty that exists in the plant. And so all of our products are all natural, and we've been fierce about that from the very beginning. We will continue to be that way. However, I just want to make one comment about that, which I think is very important. Plants are grown by Mother Nature, and they are different, and they evolve differently, and their molecular compounds are different. And so the effects can be different with different versions of the plant. So when I stepped into this industry to create products that were reliable and consistent, I was struggling with the fact that there's actually variability in the plant, right? And so what we have tried to do over time is use the extracts in a consistent way and measure them and make sure that they're consistent so the experience is consistent. But we're also now trying to incorporate the richer compounds of the plant in balance with that, so you have both. And so that's a very difficult thing to add the variability of the plant with the consistency of the plant. So long story short, my appreciation with Mother Ayahuasca and the spirit of these plants has led me here, and then also my desire to make true medicine that can help people every single day. So it's that interesting balance of both of those together that's kind of our journey.
That's beautiful. And Eric, I know you have beautiful children at home, and my question is more towards the future generation and what you guys are doing. I know it's like really early on in this industry, and the plant, does bring people back to their roots of Mother Nature. And what does that mean to you and like the future generations of what this industry will probably entail?
That's a deep question.
Yeah.
I'm deep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Even just to piggyback off the last question, what Cameron had said with ayahuasca and Mother Ayahuasca, like Aya is like the mother, right? And she's at the top of the totem pole, if you will, of the, spiritual of the plants. And cannabis, and you had asked why I referred to her as a she, is a spirit energy as well, a plant energy. It took me actually in my first experience with Aya to understand that cannabis is also a plant spirit and energy, and to begin to talk to her as well. So I just bring that up to piggyback and understand, like it actually then, and in that moment, I also gained the awareness and understanding that I'm actually serving her and working with her, in this role. And so we're all in our own mission with this plant. And I think that is what drives me personally. I know that drives everyone in Wana. I'm sure it does. It sounds like it from these two gentlemen here too. There's something broader and bigger than us. And we're blessed to be kind of conduits, if you will, to help bring forth the power, unleash this and what he can do and help people. Because there is a lot of suffering. There's pain, there's hurt, there's trauma in so many different ways. And I feel like our products are helping to make the world better, really, and help enhance people's lives. That's always been our moniker and our tagline. And really to bring forth the best that they can be of themselves and just raise vibration. That's really what we're trying to do. And so for the next generations, and we have to remember too that cannabis is a drug, right? She has to be respected and
100%.
She has to be done. And, and so my understanding and my relationship with her has changed too, with that respect as well.
That's awesome. And we're here a little short on time. And if you guys want to let people know how to get a hold of you, like what's a great contact for like your brand, how to find you, how to follow you, like what are the tags of that?
If you're looking for me, just find a nice bag of mushrooms, lay on your back in your backyard and look up at the sky. I'll be dancing up there with you. I don't do any of the hard stuff. I don't do social media. I'm that person. If you want to find us, you know where to find us in Arizona. Got a great partner down in Tucson. At Halo Infusions and Murray and the team there. And, my partners, Ted and James, they do a lot of that computer stuff. I don't really understand that world, so I'll just keep stirring the pot,
Oh, they're Goody Chews.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's a tough one to follow as well. But we are on social media. They can find us on Instagram at Kanha Bliss, KanhaBliss.com. And then I can be found on LinkedIn under Cameron Clarke Kanha. So I'm happy to have people inquire and ask about who we are and what we do. We're very interested to hear from the public. And by the way, get ideas from the public and the community how we can be better.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, just like them, Wana Brands. You can find us online, www.wanabrands.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Eric Block on LinkedIn. We also have a hemp D2C site called Shop Wondrous. It's actually a marketplace, so it's not just a Wana-only website. We wanted to create the first vetted hemp marketplace for products that are premium products and products that we've vetted. So other brands like Can, Happy, Moon, Martha Stewart, etc., Charlotte's Web are available on this marketplace. So it's really a great place if you want to dip your toes in, both hemp-derived products with THC and those without THC as well. So that's another place, shopwondrous.com, where you can find that.
Nice.
It's a beautiful presentation. That was another episode of Media Unshackled.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.